Hello everyone and welcome to another supplementary video. My name is Kasanas. Guys, in this video we're going to take a look at something called conditional statements or switching statements or branching statements. There's a lot of different names for what we're going to be doing here. But we'll be taking a look at two concepts particularly. We're going to take a look at the if-else statement as well as the switching statement, or the switch statement I should say. All right, let's get started. Okay, guys, so we're going to start off by looking at the if statement, and it's sometimes called if-else statement, but there's a number of different things you can do to it to extend it beyond just simply if and else. We'll start off right away by taking a look at what I've already done here. I've got myself a game object that I've called conditional example. On conditional example, I've added in this script that I've called selection script, and all I've done in the script, we'll take a look at this up here in 1 second. All I've done in the script is within the inside of the declarations here, I've declared two integers, value 1, which is equal to 8, and value 2, which is equal to 34, just random numbers. And to start with, I am printing out value 1 is, value 2 is, and it's printing out both those values. Okay, and I've kind of done this. This is something that's important later on as you guys are building larger and larger scripts, and you're looking to debug your code. Having these print statements kind of scattered about your code is going to be really helpful. You can remove them later on when you don't need them any longer, but I'm going to put them in here so we can kind of see these values if we change it. Okay, so I'm printing out value 1 and value 2. Now what I want to do is I want to check some different conditions around the idea of value 1 and value 2. Let's start off by using the if statement. So I'm going to start off by saying if. And I'm going to start off again with a round bracket. Now it's automatically got some stuff here that it's trying to fill in for me. If value 1 is equal to value 2, let's just use this one to start off with. If value 1 is equal to value 2, something is going to happen. The structure of an if statement is the keyword if, some type of conditional statement, and closed within brackets and these round brackets. And then we have braces. We don't necessarily have to have braces, but in this particular case, we have braces. The code will be inside the braces, will be evaluated if the conditional statement evaluates the true. If this conditional statement is false, then no code will be evaluated. So for example, let me do this here. Let me say print, I'm going to say quotations, value 1 is equal to value 2. Okay, and if I end this in my semicolon appropriately, like that, and I file save this, we already know the values of value 1 and value 2 as 8 and 34, two integers. We know they're not equal. So I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to go to my console. I'm going to clear my console, and I'm going to say play. Now, watch what happens. We're expecting nothing to happen. All right, we see value 1 is 8, value 34, value 2 is 34, and we do not see anything else after that. So this has completed its operation, and because our if statement, the conditional statement within the if statement, did not evaluate to true, it did not print this particular value. Okay, so we can see how the if statement can capture one particular condition. What if that's the only condition we care about, and if it's not true, we want something else to happen? Well, then we can follow this up with the else statement. And again, we're going to put in our braces, and I'm going to hit return here. So oops, I went too far there. If value 1 is equal to value 2, it will print this. If value 1 does not equal value 2, I'm going to copy this, I'm going to print this here, is not equal to value 2. And I'm going to file save this. Now, as it comes in, it's going to evaluate value 1 equals value 2. It's going to evaluate to false, and it's going to automatically go through to the next line of code down here into this else statement. This condition is true. There's no condition here. There's nothing here. Anytime that anything else happens, if this condition is false, do this. All right, let's move this out of the way, and let's hit play. And this time we're expecting to see value 1 is not equal to value 2, and we do. We see that right there. So we were able to check a particular condition, and then we were able to grab any other conditions on top of that. Okay, what if we had several different conditions that we wanted to evaluate? Well, I can do that as well. I'm going to go here, and I want to evaluate whether or not value 1 is less than value 2. So I'm going to add in a space, and I'm going to say else if, and again, I'm going to put in my round brackets, and I'm going to say value 1 is less than, or sorry, this is greater than. I'll do greater than first. Value 1 is greater than value 2. Okay, then what's going to happen? Well, again, I can add in my braces and I can have it evaluate something. So I can have it do something here. Print, let me just copy this so I don't have to keep writing it. Control C, get rid of this. Control V, print value 1 is greater than, greater than value 2. And I'm going to copy this one more time. Control C, and I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to use the less than. All right, value 1 is less than value 2. Okay, and I'm going to say here less than. Okay, let me file save this. Now, what we're expecting to see here, if it's going to evaluate this, if value 1 is equal to value 2, it's then going to go in and it's going to say it's good, all is good here. If it comes in, it says value 1 is greater than, if it doesn't say it, this one here evaluates the false, it will then fall through to this else statement here. Else, if, and there's another conditional statement, if value 1 is greater than value 2, it'll print this. If it's not, it will fall through again to this if statement, this else statement, excuse me. If value 1 is less than value 2, it's going to say this. And lastly, if this evaluates the false, it's going to come here and say everything else, it's not equal. Okay? If it falls through all these things here, then it's going to sound some kind of error here. So I'll write an error has occurred. Is there 2 R's in occurred? Maybe. All right, let's do it like that. I don't care if there's 2 R's. All right, file, save this. In this particular condition, what we're seeing, it's not going to be equal, so it's going to move down here and check this one. It's not going to be greater than, so it's going to move down and check this one. It is going to be less than. It's going to print value 1 is less than value 2, and we're never going to see an error has occurred. So I've already file saved this. Let's move this out of the way, and let's check it out. Okay, value 1 is 8, value 2 is 34, value 1 is less than value 2. That's exactly what we thought we were going to see, and we did. So what's really important to note is it never went down and it never checked this particular value. Let's see what happens if we change what this is equal to. I'm going to change this to 88. Okay, so now value 1 is equal to 88. I'm going to file save this. Okay, what's going to happen now? It's not equal. It's going to evaluate this as not equal. It's going to come down here. It's going to find this one here is equal. It's going to print this, and then it's going to exit out. It's never going to go through these evaluations. So in this particular case, we're going to see value 1 is greater than value 2. I've saved this. Let's hit play. So what's really important to note, and what I'm trying to stress here, is once it finds a correct value within these, and it worked out. Once we find these correct value or this correct conditional statement here, once one of them evaluates the true, it will no longer evaluate the others. All right, let me show you what that means. If equals here, if I change this one here to is greater than as well, okay, so I have 2 now that are exactly the same. It's only going to evaluate this first one and it's going to launch out. So let me say file save, move this out of the way. And again, we're going to see it's greater than. Even though we have 2 options that are the same, we're only going to see the first option kick in. There we go. Value 1 is greater than value 2. So once one of the conditional statements located within our if-else chain here evaluates to true, then all the others are ignored. That's extremely important. All right, let me file save this. And let's go up here and just take a look at some of the conditional statements that are available within the if-else. And I've kind of got it up here in a comma. So we already said x equals equals, and it's really important. Equals equals is really important. A lot of people will say this. They'll forget that this is supposed to be a conditional statement. This is a statement of equation. X is equal to, and it's setting the value of x equal to y. This, oops, not that, I'm lying. This is a conditional statement saying, is it equal? All right, so x and y are equal values. X is greater than y. X is less than y. X is greater than or equal to y. X is less than or equal to y. X does not equal y. Not x is just a false statement. So if it's anything other than the value of x, it's a false statement. And lastly, this x, if I just wrote in there x, it will evaluate to true every single time. Okay, so if I had something down here, if x, in this particular case, it's an integer, if x had a value greater than 0, if x, then it will automatically say, yep, that's right, everything is good, and it will pass on that condition as true. The way I've written the code here, this is called a nested if statement. So inside of this first if, I have nested various other ifs. So in this particular case, as I've already said multiple times, it will evaluate one of these conditions to be true, and then it will stop actually doing the statements. It'll stop actually looking for a true value, and it'll print whatever is occurring within the brackets. These are nested if statements, and you can nest any number of if statements you like. Now, if we take a look, if I had done something differently, so let's say I had said instead, if value 1 is less than value 2. And then I want to say something. I can have an inline here. I can say print. I'll just have it print this again. Value 1 is less than value 2. Okay, and I can say semicolon there. So this is a single if statement. It's going to evaluate this. If it's true, it's going to print that. Okay, if I don't have that else, and instead I add in a second if statement, let me just copy this entire thing and add it in right here. And I say value 2 is 1. Value 2 is greater than, let me make sure I set these conditions at the top. So value 2 is greater than value 1, then I'm going to say value 2 is greater than value 1. Okay, let me just make sure that it doesn't still say 88. It does, so I'm going to make sure that value 1 is 8 and value 2 is 34. Now I have two statements here, two if statements. They are not nested within each other. This second if statement is not nested within the first if statement. So it will go through this entire thing here and check it out. It'll print out the true one here, so 8 is less than 34, so wherever that one is, it'll print that out. But then it's going to come down here as well, and it's going to evaluate both of these conditions because they're not nested together. So if value 1 is less than value 2, which it is, it's going to say value 1 is less than value 2. If value 2 is greater than value 1, which it is, it's going to print out value 2 is greater than value 1. What we're expecting to see here and how this is different from the other nested if statement here is both of these conditions, both of these if statements will be evaluated. Unlike all of these up here that are nested, only the first one to evaluate to true will be evaluated, and the statements will be within the braces will be run. In this particular case, both of these statements will be run. All right, let's move this out of the way and just take a look to make sure this is really clear. Okay, we are seeing value of 8 and 34. Value 1 is less than value 2. Value 1 is less than value 2, and value 2 is greater than value 1. So in this particular case, we are evaluating, let me just stop this first. We are evaluating both if statements. It's not kicking out. Okay. One last thing I want to take a look at in this particular video, and then we'll move on to another video for the switch statement because this is going to get pretty long. I just want to demonstrate here something that's really important just about the structure of your code. Right now I'm writing everything here inside of the start function, and in this particular case, it's perfectly fine to do so. I've gone through and I'm only evaluating two numbers. I'm only doing it one time, so it doesn't really matter if I'm doing it within the start function here. But what I want to say is if this was something you were repeating over and over and over again, what you should really be doing is moving all of that code into a function. All right, so I'm just going to create a void function like we did in the previous video. I'm going to call this void function. It's just a private void function. I'm going to call it compare to. I'm not going to take any values. All right, and I'm just going to take all of this code that I have up here, and this isn't actually the best way of doing this. Control copy this, and I'm going to pop it into here. All right, and for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of, oops, I'm just going to comment out all of this code, just so we can see how this should properly be done. All right. So I'm just commenting out all that code, and what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to make a call to that function we just created. Compare to, All right. In doing so, it's going to simply take those two values. It's going to call it within this function. Now, in this particular case, calling a function with no parameters is really pointless because I'm still comparing the same two values. If I was adjusting value 1 and value 2 somewhere else in code and calling this multiple times, so if I instead did this, let me just grab this, copy it, and in between here, I'm going to say value 1 equals 99 and value 2 equals, this is for my kids, 6, 7. 6, 7. My kids are at an age where they say that, this brain rot stuff. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. It's probably going to piss them off, but I'm sorry, it's probably going to make them angry, but I'm still going to leave it there. All right, so now value 1 is smaller than value 2. It's going to run the first time. It's going to print out everything is true, and the second time it's going to say the opposite. All right, so let's just file save this. Save all, and move it out of the way. And we're going to hit play. All right, so the value in creating a function out of something we're doing multiple times is that we do not have to actually rewrite the code multiple times. So we can see here value 1 is less than value 2. Obviously, I didn't print it out. The other thing, value 1 is less than value 2. So we're taking a look at the two the statements here, the three statements in the thing, and then again value 2 is greater than value 1, and then when it evaluates it again, value 1 is greater than value 2. That's exactly what we're expecting to see here. It's called it twice. So the first time it printed out, it came in here, it evaluated one of these things to be true, and it evaluated both of these conditions to be true. The second time we called compare to, it went through and it evaluated only one of these to be true and did not evaluate either of these to be true. So it only printed out the one line. All right, so that's what's really, really important. That's something that's really, really important. If you've got code that you're going to be using in multiple instances, you really want to set up a function so that you are calling that function. That way, if I decide to make changes later on, I want to add something in here. Let's say I actually, oh no, I really wanted to add in these two print statements right here into the code itself. I could have come down here and make a change. Instead of having to make it into multiple locations, I'm only making the change in one location. All right, and this makes everything easier later on if I'm trying to optimize my code. If I'm trying to go through and make adjustments to my code, I can do it really, really easily by making sure that I've properly created any functions. Anything I'm repeating, I've properly put into a proper function. All right, everybody. So that's going to be the end of this particular video. We took a look at if statements. We're going to take a look at some other conditional statements in the next video. We'll take a look at switch statements. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. It's for my students. I hope they're getting a lot out of it. If you did enjoy it, let me know down below with a thumbs up. If you didn't, a thumbs down is perfectly fine. All right, everyone. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comments down below. And if you haven't done so, please take a few seconds to subscribe. Have yourselves a wonderful day, everyone.